finale.
Yeah, not bad, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting finale tonight.
Mm,
Yeah, so we learn a lot more about the loom and what it does.
Hmm.
yeah.
The truth
That was
about the
its yeah,
loom. Yeah,
yeah.
and that it wasn't what we thought, it was. Um,
It was a failsafe.
mm, that it was in fact working just fine in terms of deleting the timelines.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, so without the failsafe of the loom, everything would have just been deleted naturally without it.
Hmm.
That was interesting because if the loom dies and everything lives, I mean, everything dies except the actual sacred timeline.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
That's
very.
true.
Hmm.
Mm,
Then why did they even need the TVA to take care of the sacred timeline? That's interesting.
Hmm.
Mm.
mm,
I think the biggest thing is he becomes a god of time.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Protector
seem
of
like
time.
he can leave now since he's
Yeah,
holding all the
yeah.
branches.
It's true. It's true. So because I mean in Norse mythology,
The Yggdrasil.
yeah, the
Fable,
Yggdrasil, the
the,
mythical tree that
that was
connects
really
every realm with
interesting.
each other in Norse mythology.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it shaped itself into a tree rather than a loom. Once he destroyed that
mm,
loom and reshaped it into a tree.
Yeah, it went from that angle to like the actual tree.
Yeah, very strange to see it upright in a different position.
Yeah. And it's actually quite interesting how they went back to season one as well in this episode, like quite a bit.
Yeah, so he goes back in time to speak with Mobius,
Yeah.
mm.
which is
Yeah.
interesting.
As well as He Who Remains. And He
Yes,
Who Remains died so many times.
yeah, he returns from the dead a lot.
Yeah. But
And
that's what he's saying about reincarnation, that he is gonna come back no matter what, no matter how many times Sylvie kills him, he's still gonna come back.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, it's interesting that he spends
Yeah,
hundreds
centuries. It's
of
just
years,
Hmm.
they did the classic like
100 centuries later, a few centuries later,
few
bang.
centuries later. It's sort of like a meme, like saying like 10 years later or whatever. Yeah, that keeps changing. But this time it's centuries later.
Because that's how long it takes him to learn about engineering.
Yeah.
The logo goes into reverse as well, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite different. So it's
It
like
looks different.
backwards.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because he does go back in time and he thinks about, okay, where is it that I need to change it for the outcome to be different?
Yeah, that's true.
And he doesn't really um connect to him. Like he doesn't connect that what needs to happen is that he actually needs to make that decision
Yeah.
to essentially be a different kind of god, like a Norse god.
Mm,
Yeah. So the trickster, mischievous god becomes the god of time
Hmm.
yeah.
or protector of the timeline.
Vector of the timeline. Yeah.
Interesting.
And yeah, and it does seem like it's multiple timelines again, like the many branches.
Mm,
Hmm. That it's yeah, that he's the one who now has to hold it together instead of
A temporal loom,
yeah.
which scientifically they actually did like the idea of like if multiple timelines can be contained, can it actually? The answer is actually no.
Hmm.
And they kind of use that same philosophy here as well. It's like in an infinitely branching amount of timelines, it cannot actually ever be contained because it will just duplicate and duplicate
Yeah, it's
and
like dividing by
expand.
zero. So
Yeah, it's
divide
like
by
dividing
zero.
by zero. It cannot be contained.
It definitely because
No
it's
matter how much you expand it, it
Mm.
will keep growing even further.
Mm.
Practically impossible.
Mm.
So it's actually interesting how they actually put that into the show as well.
Yeah.
Like a scientific
Mm.
theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite a philosophical kind of show and also very scientific in a way kind of stuff
Yeah.
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting that it's also mixed in with a bit of, the Norse mythology and magic. So very interesting to see that mixture in this series overall.
Norse mythology, yeah.
Yeah,
Norse
kind of
mythology.
mystical
Mm.
as well as scientific in the one
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
So here's all the Easter eggs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's see the Easter eggs.
So
Yeah, the reverse
logo,
logo.
reverse play time. Interesting, because he was moving, time slipping. He was
Yeah.
Backwards, yeah.
going
So
backwards.
it started with the
Back
Marvel
through time.
Studios logo and then went through the actual process to the stones.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
I like that effect.
and he also replayed season 2 episode 4 as of 4's ending from different perspectives.
Yeah, how Timely died like so many times.
Oh, again and again and again and again. One
Yeah.
touch.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so
So-
he went through previous episodes.
Mm.
Mm.
And oh yes, all the way back to the finale of season 1.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, fighting with
Mm.
Sylvie
Yeah.
and he remains dying so many times as well. That's kind of an interesting way of like doing the whole repeating day
Like a Groundhog Day.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Was it-
everyone does it, but this time this Loki is actually actively doing it himself.
Yeah, that's right.
And he keeps saying, see you soon, see you soon, see you soon, see you soon.
Mm.
Kang. Setup of Kang's future. He'll be back.
Mm.
Okay. Mm.
But we will see because
It's interesting what will happen. Yeah. To
it
him.
depends if the other cans can cross the universe now.
Mm.
Because they already contain the Kang in the 616 universe, which is probably the MCU. Like 616 has been popping up like a lot all the time.
6.6. Mm.
Yeah, because it's like based off the Marvel 616 universe or the Marvel Comics 616.
Mm. Interesting.
Uh,
So he disappeared in temporal loom, was it?
well,
Yeah,
he
he's
he-
holding the timelines together.
just like
Oh.
Yggdrasil.
Oh.
But in this case, it's the Marvel version, which encompasses the multiverse.
Oh.
And timelines and branches, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, he went back here. Yep, episode 1, season
Mm.
1, episode 1, all the way back.
It's meant to parallel that episode. Um,
Yeah. Considering the episode's called Glorious Papers, it kind of makes sense.
it's a
Yeah,
callback.
so both episodes were called Glorious Purpose.
So the fact that they titled it the same, it's a clear reference to that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
went back to the beginning.
It's like a full circle moment.
Yeah, so in the time theater, that was practically episode 1 with Mobius.
Yeah, so time theater being reused to Loki's TVA prison clothing. Yeah,
Yeah, he even had the whole thing on the neck, but kept
this thing, yeah.
erasing it.
For you, for all of us. Oh, he did say this line in the original Thor movie. For you, for all of us.
Yeah.
For you, for all of us.
They would have completely forgotten that.
But in this case, the same line is used, but it's to show how far he's come.
Mm,
He's actually making a sacrifice for everyone else, not just for himself.
mm.
Yeah, so he definitely changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of
Yeah,
course,
this outfit, yeah.
at the end, he finally got those horns back.
Oh, the horns.
Yeah, because we hadn't seen it so far. We hadn't seen it so far in this episode, in this season. So now it's back.
Yeah, it's back.
You got the
So,
horn
it's a interesting one. The helmet
and the helmet.
Hmm.
is made of the same black and orange as well.
Okay, the same
Mental texture. So
Mm.
I guess he is in a sense then TVA head's replacement.
Yeah, that's probably the case now. Since
Probably because
the
now
time-
it's him at the end of time.
Yeah.
yes, that's right. Since he's the one there now, not the timekeepers and not
So
him.
he's the literal god of stories rather than the god of mischief. So he's not a god of mischief anymore. I don't know how some people might feel about that. He's evolved into the god of stories.
Hmm.
Yep. God of stories, like many different stories of different
Multiverse.
timelines.
Yeah.
Multiverse.
Mm.
So yeah, because he's gathering all the multiversal branches. So literally he's the god of stories. The
Mm.
god of the multiverse.
Nice.
That is a big progression.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yggdrasil.
Yeah, we got the Yggdrasil. That's a
Big
tree.
stars, like
It's called the world
yeah.
tree.
Yep. And even at the end after that, you see the poster saying nature,
Yeah, we saw that one. Yeah, nurture.
which showcased the tree.
So in Norse mythology, Yggdrasil is this giant tree that binds the 9 realms. However, in this episode, it's not just 9 realms; it's the whole multiverse.
Oh, you got true, yeah.
Loki holds the literal branches together,
Interesting.
referencing Kang variant.
It's canon.
So cause a ruckus on 616.
Yeah,
But
but
they
they
handled
handled
it.
it. It's always 616.
he's talking about what happened in Ant-Man then.
Quantum
Yeah.
Mania.
Yep. Quantum Mania thing.
Yeah, but of course, yeah, they handled that pretty well. And they stopped him.
Actually, it's interesting too. Previously, he said one of his greatest fears is to be alone, and
At the end of time.
at the end of
now
time,
he
he is alone. He's without his friends at the end of time, and it's a sacrifice he made to keep the branches from being destroyed.
Mm.
Mm.
So this would mean that his show is his. He will probably not be in another property now.
Mm.
From what he said, that's the end of his 14-year run.
Yeah, so we already talked about this, the same title, as season 1, episode 1. So it's a full circle, yeah.
Mm.
Because in season 1, he thought his purpose was to enslave those
Mm.
beneath him, and now
He wanted
his
to become.
purpose was to serve them or sacrifice himself for them.
Yeah.
So what a change.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a change.
I mean, you couldn't find a bigger purpose, could you, than
Mm.
being the god who holds the multiverse together? That's huge.
That's pretty huge. It's quite a change for him. So to be the one that is now responsible for that rather than he who remains. Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's interesting how He Who Remains. So does that actually mean that we will see more of his variants? Because now the TBA is actually
Yes.
actively searching
That's
and
what
making
they're.
sure of the variants.
Mm.
Mhm.
I think that's what they're trying to do now. Like their aim is to just find those other variants and stop them from causing trouble. Like of course, like the Kang variant that was in Ant-Man.
Yeah. But what I'm also interested in is how is the TVA being powered now?
by Loki.
Maybe he uses magic. I don't know.
Who knows? But the idea of the temporal loom actually being the energy source for the TVA is why they had all the surges,
Mm.
the power surges and stuff. And now since it's gone,
Hmm.
is Loki really doing it? Because we did see all the branches go into the end of time as well.
Yeah.
Loki.
So how is the TVA actually being powered now? Or did they find another energy source?
They must have, I suppose.
Probably. Because otherwise the TVA would have been dark for quite a while. They'll have to find an energy source,
Mm. Mm.
which isn't the temporal loom.
Yeah, that's right. They might have
Created something else maybe.
yeah.
But they never got into that. But I guess
Yeah.
the shared so they didn't always have to cover it.
I guess we can sort of speculate on what they did too.
Yeah, we could speculate.
Mm.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean, is he even the big bad anymore?
Yeah.
That's the question, right?
I mean, that's one of the things that I guess what obviously the IGN critics had sort of
Oh no, I'm talking about Kang, or He Who Remains.
yeah.
Yeah, is he even a big bad anymore? It's like
Maybe they're trying to get rid of Jonathan
Mm.
Majors.
Maybe this is a way of kind of, well, He Who Remains has essentially been removed from his throne in this way.
Mm.
If anything, it was like Loki kind of overthrew him by now occupying that throne.
But the Kang variants still might
But the
come
Kang
into
variants are still
play.
out there, right? So,
Mm.
and they will definitely cause a lot of trouble.
Because he said reincarnation as well, not just
Mm.
the multiple
Mm.
timelines and his lives.
Multiple timelines, yeah.
So the reincarnation might actually be at play there.
Yeah, that's interesting. It'll be interesting to see the other Kang variants, like the Egyptian one, and then there was something else I didn't quite see, but yeah, there's a few of them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because the concept of reincarnation is quite different to like Ultimate's timelines.
Mm.
But it's interesting how T mentioned it.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay. I think we should get to the scores.
Yeah, let's get our
Yeah,
scores.
let's
Yeah.
go through it.
Bill, are you
Yes.
still there? I'm happy to give this, just because I like the way it came full circle, and it was a really, I thought it was a pretty tight ending. It didn't sort of leave me hanging, which sometimes series enders can be like that, and that's hit and miss for some people. Some people prefer everything sort of wrapped up nicely, and some people prefer the cliffhanger kind of ending. I personally prefer like having it sort of wrapped up nicely, but still with the possibility of there being, another storyline. I feel like this did both quite well, because it wrapped up the story of the temporal loom, being transformed into this tree instead,
Mm.
a sacred timeline kind of tree, like Yggdrasil. But at the same time, you still had to deal with the Kang variants, so there was still that another storyline to give us a possibility for like a season 3 or a movie later down the track. So it's kind of both. And I think, yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Like, so
Mm.
for me, I would say, yeah, and 8 for me because I like the
Wow.
way that the story was really, like you had a few revelations as well
Mm.
from He Who Remains.
Mm.
So it's, yeah, that's sort of what you want from a season finale. It's like you want maybe a few surprises or something new that you didn't know before. So that's what I like about this episode. And
Cool.
yeah,
What,
uh,
what about the
um,
series? What about the series then?
the series score, I would say overall, it's been a really good series.
Mm.
I would say probably the same.
All right. Yeah.
I really enjoyed the series as a whole. I thought it was quite cohesive, and you
Mm.
didn't really have, I guess, what you would consider like filler episodes.
Mm.
Because some series have those where nothing really happens in the episode. It's not really pushing it forward.
Yeah,
But
like Andor.
yeah,
I like it.
and Loki didn't have those kind of episodes for this season at all. Like everything was either moving the story forward or it was revealing more of a character, and you're getting so much with each episode
Yeah.
that it doesn't feel like anything was really wasted. I think that it was quite the pacing was quite good as well.
Mm. Absolutely.
It was quite tight. And I think, yeah, there was a good mix of action and sort of intrigue, and yeah, just the storyline is quite interesting as well.
Mm.
And again, that mix of the scientific and the mystical, you don't often get that sort of mix in a series. They're either very sci-fi or they're very sort of magic, supernatural. You don't really get this sort of mix very often. So, and I think they balance that quite well in this.
Mm.
With the very scientific side of things, especially with Victor Timely there, but also with just having Loki being, a mythical god,
Mm.
from Nordic mythology,
Absolutely. Yeah.
from the Norse mythology. So you always had that as well, that sort of mystical element.
Mm. Cool. Cool.
Mm.
That's good. 8.
Did you have your score?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of similar as well. Yeah. This episode 8 and the series 8, yeah. Thought overall, yeah, it kind of, yeah, made it mystical and time, this kind of time lapse and slipping and all that. I'm going to see all the different characters too. The Indiana Jones guy and Owen Wilson.
Mm.
So yeah, I gave it an 8 overall, and this one just really seeing what they have in store as well. So yeah, I'll give it an 8.
8 from Jeff. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I'll give it 8 as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a good full circle, going back to
Oh yeah,
the question of purpose and how that purpose has changed.
it's changing.
Yeah, and you can see the character development,
Mm-hmm.
how Loki has really developed as a character
Oh yeah.
since season 1.
Mm.
It's a very reflective, thoughtful finale,
Mm.
which is
Mm.
okay.
Mm.
It's not like lots and lots of action and fighting, but it's actually more about how far Loki has come.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a character. I
Definitely.
mean, it's a huge development if you think about it.
Yeah.
He's now become one of the most important.
Oh yeah.
He's literally the the
God of time now.
the god of time and stories, holding the multiverse together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably one of the best characters, I'd say.
Mm.
Yeah, because out of all of the characters in the MCU, he is probably the most complex one.
So overall, Yeah, I'll give it an 8
Oh wow. Okay.
for the episode and for the series.
Wow. Okay.
Mm.
Interesting.
What about Bill? Bill are still around?
Probably not. Jonathan.
Don't know then.
Yeah.
Yes, for
Yeah, so yeah, I actually really enjoyed this episode. The whole going back from the start, we see it right at the front. Like this whole series as a whole, the beginning sequences always tend to allude to what's happening coming into the episode. So the Marvel logo going backwards actually just shows that they're going back to the start. And they did it. It was a really solid episode for the last one. Probably one of the best ones, I would say.
Wow.
They did a lot of like interesting stuff,
Mhm.
like the whole day repeating
Mhm.
trope quite a
Yeah.
bit, multiple times, not just once.
Mhm.
So like other ones, they just do it like only one particular scene multiple times. But this time they did like several different scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But doing that, like T-Fail's face goes back even further. And
Mhm.
then keeps failing, goes back even further.
Mm. And I think it finally sunk in that he had to go right from the start.
Yeah, which is why he talked to Mobius in the time theater and he knew what he had to do.
Mm.
So yeah, the whole thing about what Mobius was saying, like the whole terms of like they do what they had to do, like the story about like that hunter who pruned the child was Ravenna Redslayer.
Yes.
Mm.
And interesting to see what happens to her as well.
Yeah, but it Loki knew that hunter was Mobius.
Mm.
He actually didn't want to prune it because it was a kid. That would lead to like thousands of deaths. Like did he say like 5,000 or something?
Yeah, quite a huge substantial number. So it must have been someone who's, made something like a weapon or something that would kill a lot of people, or
Yeah, like it was a mistake.
Mm.
He was in the wrong place.
Yeah.
But then it goes off the whole idea of like with the whole thing about Norse mythology, like if you know like the history of like the Norse or all of that, I like to read a lot, so kind of get like random information here and there. But the idea of the Norse mythology is with great power requires great sacrifice.
Yeah.
Which is not the same as what Spider-Man says, which is with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
But it's with great power requires great sacrifices, the Norse thing.
Yeah.
Which is why, in terms of like all of the other mythology stories, the Norse one is the one which is like covered in death, like so much death and like those guardians of the Norse.
Mm.
But yeah, but considering the Norse never really considered themselves gods.
Yeah, it's true.
So more like guardians. So who knows? They were worshipped like gods, but they never considered themselves as gods. Like if you look at the whole mythology as a whole, there's nothing that says that they wanted to be worshipped or were claiming to be gods.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do like how Norse mythology comes into all this, and that's why Norse mythology comes into like so many properties, not just the MCU.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, even DC has its what else? Star Trek
Mm.
has that idea as well.
Mm.
Stargate. They also had a Thor, Loki, and everything.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah, it's the whole idea of the Norse is like so solid in terms of its mythology,
Mm.
which I tend to like as a theory, like as an actual myths and legends.
Hmm.
So what's the score?
As yes, so for this episode, I give this episode an 8.
Oh wow.
Mm.
And yeah, I'd say this now that Loki is probably the most complex character in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like we see him like change throughout the MCU through the movies,
Mm.
and now through him as a series. Like they are two different Lokis for one,
Mm.
but they both had really unique growth journeys.
Mm.
And at the end, he in the movies he died like being a good guy. And
Mm.
then this one he's at the end of time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So this for the series, I give the series a 7. So 8 for the episode, 7 for the series.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. That's a very high score. But
It's very high.
Poetic and consequential moment.
mm,
It is.
I do agree with that, that there are some, very important scenes.
He's the new steward of the Marvel saga.
It's Stewart. Yeah.
Not pruning, but growing.
Yeah. And it certainly, it's a big change. Yeah.
Yep. So the tree of the Yggdrasil as well.
There you go.
What does IGN give it?
Oh yeah, we just saw it.
9, was it?
9.
A 9.
But for the series as a whole,
Nice.
Mm.
Oh, it doesn't have the season thing yet.
okay,
Oh, yeah.
the series as a whole.
Mm.
Because while they did give scores with the other episodes, like the first 4 were like together. So I suppose we could average them out as the season
Oh,
4 if you added all of that, divided it.
maybe a 6 or 7, 6.5. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess sometimes they're the way they weigh up the good, the pros and cons, the good and not so good of the series, it might end up being a little bit higher, even if they didn't like certain episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it depends on what they look at as well.
I think. Oh, yeah. Jeff has to go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting
Do
a
you
bit
think that punching the hole in the multiverse caused the issue in Captain Marvel?
Cause what issue?
Captain Marvel.
Spoiler for the Captain Marvel movie. They punched a hole into another reality.
Right, into the X-Men reality.
Yeah, I wonder what impact that's going to have, and how does it affect the sacred timeline if something like this happens?
Yep. But in terms of what's happened in Loki, it does seem like Loki allows that thing to happen now. Or something like that to happen. But we already kind of knew that the multiverse was happening because of Multiverse of Madness, and even the Spider-Man one alluded to that as well.
I mean, we're aware of the multiverse. So yeah, it'll be interesting how they tackle this in the next series, or in the next the next series will be Echo, so I don't think it will go into that. but the next Marvel movie might go into that a bit more.
Yep. And we'll also see what happens with the whole multiverse idea, because the next Spider-Man multiverse movie coming.
Hmm.
Across the Spider-Verse Part 2.
Yeah.
Mm.
So are they actually connected? It does kind of seem like
Hmm.
in Spider-Verse Part 1, they did have like live action stars in it, weirdly.
Yeah. Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Mm.
It's interesting where they'll go with the whole multiverse, especially now since the X-Men
Yes.
universe is in.
Yes. I mean that's probably like the thing that most people were excited about. They were clapping when they saw Beast
Mm.
in
The
the theaters.
Beast.
They were like, yeah,
Mm.
they were so excited to see Beast.
The Beast.
Yep. And mother and daughter coming back together.
Yeah.
True, but she's not really the mom, right? Not in that universe.
She's not the mom in that universe, but interesting that they brought her back to play a different character in this universe, in the X-Men's universe.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
All right.